Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the changes to the Survival Hunter since my last video a little over a month ago. In that video I may have gushed a little bit because of how excited I was about Survival getting fixed, but now that some of that excitement has died down, let's take a look at what's changed. First of all, as you saw in my last video, character copy is now available on the beta. So I've copied my hunter from live and I'm comparing him to the stock character I used in my first video. Obviously, that character had an item level in the vicinity of 180, and my 936 hunter on live has an item level of 219, as you can see here. Now, with that big of an item level difference, you would expect that abilities on my copied hunter would hit harder than the hunter in my original video. But you would be wrong. Survival has seen small to moderate nerfs across the board, even with gear, from doing raiding, mythic pluses, etc. My copied hunter, most of his abilities are hitting slightly less than they were with essentially a character that was had boosted gear. That being said, let's take a look at what's changed. As you can see, Carve is back. It has relatively low damage, it's on a 5-second cooldown, and it reduces the remaining cooldown on Wildfire Bomb by 1 second for each target hit up to 5. Kind of good, I guess. I don't think this is the thing that we were hoping we would get to fix our AoE problem, but it is what it is. So the next thing I wanted to hit on was Primal Rage. Now, Primal Rage, in my last video, it was kind of one of those things that was a little broken in terms of the tooltip and in terms of how it was presented on the toolbar kind of thing. Primal Rage is a command pet ability for the hunter, much like the warlocks have a command hunter ability, and it's available for all ferocity pet family pets. It's not a family so much; it's a type or a spec of pet. But wow, I wish these people would get out of my way. It's like I'm trying to film a video here or something. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know how to turn. Okay, there we go. Dude, go sit over here. Good boy. Okay, maybe a little further. Yeah, you're in the corner. He's in timeout. Anyway, the pet specialization will determine the type of command pet ability they'll get. So if a pet is, say, a cunning pet, let's send this guy out. And let's bring in my cunning pet. You see the ability changed in my bar, and now it says Master's Call. So cunning pets get Master's Call, which removes root and impairment, movement impairing effects from itself and a friendly target, and it grants immunity from all such effects for 4 seconds. So that's the cunning ability. Now let's send this guy out. And let's bring in a tenacity pet. Now, tenacity pets get Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest reduces all damage you and your pet take by 20% for 6 seconds. Also, just generally speaking, you have each spec has a passive ability, and tenacities is it will basically give you more health by having a tenacity pet. You and your pet have more health. I'll show you that here in the... Actually, it's going to be here. You get endurance training, 5% increased. You and your pet gain 5% increased maximum health. Let's bring in, I'll show you the other pets so you can see what they get. Each specialization gets a separate passive ability. The cunning gets pathfinding, 8% increased movement speed. Not too shabby. Send him out. Bring back my pup. Ferocities get Predator's Thirst. You and your pet gain 10% leech. So it's more clear now. I'm pretty sure this was probably working at the time I did the video, but the thing is that when you put the ability on your toolbar, it stayed Primal Rage. It never changed, so it was broken. It gave the impression that you have that ability for every pet, and it wasn't really explained real well. It is explained a lot better now. So with that, let's get into talents that have changed. So not really a whole lot has changed in terms of talents, but the big change has been to, if you want to even call it a big change, is that Steel Trap now does its damage over 20 seconds, which Sounds good. It's doing basically about the same damage it did before, but it's doing it over 20 seconds. The problem with that is that it's on a 30-second cooldown, so it's not going to be a situation where you can keep it up, 100% uptime, where it was before. If you were on a longer fight, you can keep 100% uptime and it would do the whole damage, and it was actually more powerful in that regard. That being said, I'm not doing the math here, but Murder of Crows still does about the same and does it over 15 seconds and still on a 1-minute cooldown. Now, that's going to be better on shorter fights, just by virtue of the fact that it does more damage over a shorter period of time, and it resets if the target dies. So, yeah, better on shorter fights. The jury's still out on Bloodseeker. Kill command causes the target to bleed over for 740 damage over 8 seconds, which is not bad, but you can keep 100% uptime on this fairly easy, and it's passive. And it says you and your pet gain 10% attack speed for every bleeding enemy within 12 yards. I'll have to do some more research onto this, but hunters aren't the only ones that can put bleeds on targets. I mean, rogues, feral druids, I guess other hunters that have spec for any kind of abilities that do a bleed. This could give you this, depending on who you're grouped with, it could be very effective if you get it for all those specs. But again, this is a math thing, and I'm not into it. I can just tell you right off that Murder of Crows is going to be better for leveling up. So the other big change that has happened since my last video is War Mode. War Mode and PvP talents have hit the beta since then, and I'm going to go over those really quickly. So the first row, I guess you could say, is your gladiator's medallion type of row. Basically, you have a choice between 3 abilities. This is going to affect how movement impairing effects and loss of control effects work on your character, how you can get them removed. So the next 1, 2, 3 are going to be basically abilities or passives that will help you in PvP. Hunting Pack is going to reduce the cooldown of your Aspect of the Cheetah by 50%, and it gives you Aspect of the Cheetah also causes all allies within 15 yards to gain 90% movement speed for 3 seconds. So pretty good there. Roar of Sacrifice is back. It's now separate from a pet specific ability, but it only makes it so that you can't get, it says, it instructs your pet to protect a friendly target from critical strikes, making attacks against that target unable to be critical strikes, but 20% of all damage taken by the target is also taken by the pet. Not as good as the original used to be. Anyway, Tracker's Net, you hurl a net at your enemy, rooting them for 6 seconds. While within the net, the target's chance to hit is reduced by 80%. Any damage will break the net. Good crowd control, extra crowd control ability, not too shabby. Diamond Ice, your victims of Freezing Trap can no longer be damaged or healed. Freezing Trap is now undispellable, but has a 5-second duration. So a shorter stun that can't be broken and the target can't be healed. So if you've got 2 people real near death and you can freeze one while you kill the other in 5 seconds, if that's something you can do, it's a pretty good deal. Next is High Explosive Trap, which is one of my favorites. It's hurls a fire trap to the target location that explodes when an enemy approaches, causing fire damage and knocking all enemies away, and it will exist for 1 minute. So I don't know if this, once it explodes, it's done, or if it will continually explode whenever someone gets to it. Have to test that a little more, but still sounds pretty cool. Survival Tactics removes all harmful magical effects and reduces damage taken by 99% for 1.5 seconds. This pairs real well with my horrid legendary I have here, the Shadowhunter's Voodoo Mask. So not too bad for PvP. Next is Spider Sting. Stings the target with potent spider venom for 4 seconds, causing the next offensive spell cast to silence the target for 4 seconds. It's not a bad ability. It good for going against casters. Next is Scorpion Sting. Stings the target, reducing their physical critical strike chance by 50% for 8 seconds. So no crits, but they can still do regular damage to you that will still hurt pretty bad. Yeah. All right. Next up is Dragon Scale Armor. Magical damage over time effects deal 20% less damage to you. Great protection against Affliction Warlocks and Shadow Priests. Next, we have Viper Sting. Stings the target, reducing their healing done by 30% for 6 seconds. Viper Sting is removed if the target casts a non-instant cast healing ability. This ability seems super useless to me because anyone casting, most healing specs have non-instant cast healing spells. So all they have to do is cast one of those and that's off. Yeah, so they're not going to be able to do an instant cast. or they'll get 30% reduced healing done from their instant casts. Doesn't seem all that great to me. Next is Mending Bandage. It clears all bleeds, poisons, and disease from the target and heals for 30% damage over 6 seconds. Not too bad. It'll, of course, be stopped if you get attacked. Sticky Tar is a passive. Enemies who stand in your tar trap for 3 seconds have their gear coated with tar, slowing melee attack speed by 80% for 5 seconds. Good against melee attackers. But that's going to do it for me. If you like this video, leave a like. Tell me what you think about the changes to Survival Hunter. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, please hit that subscribe button and hit it hard, you know, kind of like how Survival Hunter abilities used to hit. With that, I will see you next time.